My training continued for a few more days. Then one night there was no more training. Dad told Kelly that we weren't going to train because the race was the next day. He wanted us to relax and go to bed early. Tomorrow we will have to get up early and go to the race, he said. I laid awake for a long time, wondering what the race was going to be like. I knew my mother would have been proud of me. I didn't dream of her that night. I had no dreams at all. The next morning, we rode in the truck to the racetrack. There were lots of trucks like Michael's with little compartments in the back. I was sitting in the front seat as usual. When the other dogs poked their head out of the little compartments, I was embarrassed to be seen in the front seat. All sizes of kids were there. Some were old enough to harness their own 2, 3, and 5 dog teams. Others were very small. They stood bundled in snowsuits and scarves, looking apprehensive as their parents harnessed their dogs. Kelly hooked me up to her sled, and Dad helped us get to the starting line. There were 2 other one-dog teams ahead of us. I heard a voice high in the air and looked up. Kelly did too. Dad told her that the people in the tall building kept time with their stopwatches. Then I heard the voice again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The first team took off down the trail and disappeared into the trees. Everyone was yelling, even Kelly. I wanted to win this race to prove that I was a real sled dog. Soon we saw the team coming back out of the trees towards a group of people on the other side of the tall building. That's the finish line over there, Dad told Kelly. I looked at the trail, then at the finish line. I was supposed to take off down the trail in front of us, go through the woods, and end up on the trail by the finish line. I wondered if there were a shortcut. The next team was ready to race. When the voice said go, they took off just like the first team. Kelly was fidgeting a little. I could feel nervous, squirmy vibrations coming from the sled through my harness. Then, after the second team crossed the finish line, I heard go and felt Kelly release the brake. I leaped and the harness responded. We were gliding down the hard-packed trail, the shouts of the people watching echoing in our ears. The trail that we were on went in a big loop back to the finish line. Why go all the way down to the trees, I thought, when I could just cut across the middle to the other side of this loop? So I turned and headed for the trail to the finish line. What a mistake. The snow was much deeper in the middle and not packed down at all. I floundered and dragged my way through, the sled pitching so wildly that Kelly fell off. Somehow I scrambled out of the deep snow and ran driverless to the finish line. The people weren't cheering anymore, they were laughing. The voice in the tall building said that Kelly and Foxy were disqualified. I wondered if that meant that we had won the race. The look on Dad's face told me that we didn't win. Kelly had the same look when she stumbled over the finish line, snow-covered and panting. No one talked on the way home. They were upset, and I was responsible. I wanted to win so much. I wondered if I would get another chance to do it right and prove that I was a sled dog, a good sled dog. That night at dinner, Kelly asked if we could practice at the track before the next race. Her parents thought it was a good idea. That meant I would get another chance. Kelly was excited to practice at the track, but I could still tell she was mad at me for dumping her off the sled into the deep snow. The next afternoon, the whole family went back to the track. No one else was there. Dad harnessed me at the starting line and told Kelly to step on the brake. Mom went over to the finish line. Then Dad ran down the trail towards the trees. I wanted to run after him, but Kelly was standing on the brake. I looked back at her. She was putting on a fur hat with ear flaps because it was a bitter cold day. Before her face disappeared in the hat, I caught a glimpse of her expression. She was still mad at me. This made me even more determined to do it right this time. No shortcuts. When I heard Dad yell, "Go," I waited a second or two after Kelly stepped off the brake. I wanted to make sure she was ready. Then I took off down the trail that already seemed familiar to me. The snow was crisp and packed under my feet. It sparkled brilliantly under the winter sun, which was already dipping low in the sky. In the distance, the snowdrifts looked almost purple. I was running for fun, savoring the feel of the trail. Dad must have known because he started yelling, "Come on, Foxy, you can do better than that." Then he turned and ran down the trail. It was a challenge I couldn't refuse. The sled runners began hissing with speed. Kelly was shouting, "Go, Foxy, go!" She didn't sound like she was mad at me anymore. I caught Dad and passed him like he was standing still. I heard him laugh as the sled whipped past. The run was ending much too soon. I could see Mom at the finish line, and she grabbed at the sled as we went past. Kelly used the brake to bring us to a stop. I felt like we had just started when we were finished. Mom gave me a piece of raw liver, my favorite treat. Kelly pulled off her hat, uncovering a huge smile on a face so flushed with excitement that I couldn't see her freckles anymore. She gave me a big hug and told me what a good sled dog I was. She didn't even complain about my liver breath when I gave her a big kiss. Dad soon joined us. He was panting and out of breath, but his smile was even bigger than Kelly's. "I think we've got ourselves a sled dog," he said. As he unharnessed me, he told Kelly we'd run here every afternoon so that I would know what to do in the next race. I already knew what to do, but I figured I'd go along with the plan. It seemed to make him happy to think he was teaching me something.